The Culture Pop Podcast is brought to you by the law offices of Jacob Emrani.
Accident or injury, call Jacob Emrani. Call Jacob.
Hey, it's Mase. If you or a friend or loved one is injured in an accident, the first person you should call is my friend Jacob. When I did this, Jacob was great. He helped me by talking through the next steps, which really put my mind at ease. When you're injured in an accident, you got to have an expert. That's why you call Jacob, just like I did. Call Jacob, 844-24-JACOB. That's 844-24-JACOB, or visit calljacob.com.
Call Jacob.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Culture Pop Podcast. I'm Steve Mason along with Sue 𝐭𝐞𝐫𝐯𝐢𝐤. This is the show where we talk about everything happening in the world of pop culture. Great guest today, William Stanford Davis, who plays Mr. Johnson on Abbott Elementary, which has been nominated for 10 Emmy Awards. Another big year at the Emmys for Abbott Elementary. Sue, how are you? What's going on? You're getting ready for your triathlon, right? This is it.
This is it. Today's the last day of training, and Sunday is the real deal.
Now, do you take Saturday off completely? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had trouble sleeping. You know, I've been on my workout kick. I've had trouble sleeping last night because I took something called branch amino acids, which are, helping you work out. It's not anything, sketchy. It's not like steroids or anything like that, but it's supposed to help. And then I was up all night and I read the instructions today and it says could cause sleeplessness. So there you have it. I'm off of those because I need my sleep. The Emmy nominations came out, always exciting. We love all the award shows. And this year, Shogun got 25 nominations. The Bear with 23. Only Murders in the Building, 21 nominations. The True Detective Night Country had 19, and The Crown had 18. So what was your initial reaction to the Emmy nominations when you saw them?
I think they were pretty right on. There were a couple of, there was one show that was, and one actor that I felt was alluded in prior years. I don't think Slow Horses was ever nominated. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Now, did you watch Slow Horses?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did?
It is great. Gary Oldman.
Who is this? Gary Oldman, right. Gary Oldman.
And the whole cast is great. And it's just a great, Kristen Scott Thomas is in it. It's just a great story. It's this ragtag group of, detectives and helmed by Gary Oldman. And he is phenomenal. So anyway, I know he's nominated as well as he should. He really deserves the award. One person that stood out that I feel got ripped off is Susie Essman.
Oh, Susie Essman is a great call. Yeah. Susie Essman, best supporting actress in a comedy. It's like perfect.
She delivers every season she delivered.
Yeah. They should have a separate award for best hats. She's got so many cool hats on Curb Your Enthusiasm, which got a nomination for the final season, has never won, and I think it's going to go out as a much nominated show that never won an Emmy. Do you agree?
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising because it's one of the funniest shows on television.
Oh, it is. You know what's weird? I think it doesn't get as much Emmy attention because it's more of an ad-lib thing, which you would think would make it easier, right? But I guess because it's not a written script, it doesn't fall into some of those categories.
Yeah, but it's heavily beat out.
Yes.
So
yes.
There is a lot of writing. There is a lot of writing, although it's not in script form.
Right. So that probably eliminates it from some of the writing categories, all that.
Right.
In the Outstanding Comedy Series, Abbott Elementary, William Stanford Davis is going to be with us in a couple of minutes here. It's certainly deserving of a nomination. The Bear, which I absolutely love. You're in on The Bear, right?
I haven't seen the third season yet.
Third season. It's great. Curb, Hacks, which one of my favorite viewing experiences of this year was Hacks. I just thought That was a great season. Only Murders in the Building. Do you watch that one?
I'm not up to date on it. I think I saw the first couple of seasons.
Very funny, very quirky. I really enjoy Steve Martin and Martin Short are great. Selena Gomez got nominated. She may be the most monotone actress there is.
I know.
You get very, very little from her. But she got nominated. And then Palm Royale, which I thought jumped the shark on an episode where Allison Janney was talking to a beached whale. Do you remember that episode?
No, I checked out pretty early in Palm Royale.
Yeah. I thought Kristen Wiig was great. She had sort of a Lucille Ball vibe to her and, had some interesting stuff. But yeah, I did not love that show. Reservation Dogs, the one show in this category that I have never seen.
Me neither.
And then What We Do in the Shadows, which I think is just absolute genius. Do you watch that one?
I'm not up to date with it. I love it, but for some reason, other shows just have taken me away. So
yeah, it is such a smart, funny show.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those shows that I'll have to go back to and binge.
And I was glad that Matt Berry got nominated. He is hilarious
He's great
on the show. He's really, really good. Now, in the drama category, maybe I'm dumb, but I've only seen 2 of these shows. Is that possible?
Okay, let me get to best drama.
I watched The Crown, which I thought was fantastic. I watched The Morning Show. I watched The Morning Show, which I think is cheesy but fun. It's so, having worked in this business for a long time, it's so unrealistic and so ridiculous. But I completely buy into it because it's kind of delicious. The Gilded Age, which has never felt like it's for me. It feels like it's for older women. Fallout, which I got to be honest, I don't even know what it is. Do you know anything about Fallout?
No. I just know that it has fallen out with me.
Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I watched a few episodes of, and I thought was really good.
I really liked that series. I thought they were great.
Slow Horses, which you saw, I did not. And then Three Body Problem, which, no, I don't know. I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know what I've been doing with myself. And then Shogun. Now, Shogun is interesting because I did try it. It does have subtitles. I didn't make it to episode 2. You know how I feel about subtitles.
You don't like reading your movies.
Correct. Now, I've been joking. Brian Cohen, who's the associate producer of Mason in Ireland, has watched the show and absolutely loves it. I've been saying I'm not smart enough for the show, which I'm sure I'm smart enough for the show, but I don't. That's a huge investment, subtitles.
Yeah, no, I get it. Everyone I know that has seen Shogun said it's phenomenal. So I think it's going to be between Shogun and Slow Horses. I have a feeling that Shogun will probably win.
You think so? I wouldn't be surprised if The Crown won the last one out the door.
I don't think so.
Did you watch The Crown this time?
I did.
Oh my God, I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. But
I just thought The Crown was an unbelievable show from beginning to end. Best limited or anthology series, our friend Ryan Neisweiner did not make this one with fellow travelers, unfortunately, but super crowded category. Fargo, which was apparently great this year.
It was. You didn't see it.
I didn't.
So good.
Lessons in Chemistry, which you watched, but I did not.
Great.
Ripley, which I thought was unbelievable.
So good.
Andrew Scott was so good in that. True Detective Night Country, which was another great TV viewing experience. I loved that Callie Reese got nominated, Jodie Foster. It got a whole bunch of nominations. But it's probably going to lose to the show that, for whatever reason captured the zeitgeist this year, Baby Reindeer.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a tough category because they were all such great shows.
They really were. I thought Baby Reindeer was must-see TV, disturbing as hell. And Richard Gadd, who it's based on his life experience, and it's really, really dark. And then Jessica Gunning plays Martha, who is the stalker in this show. I think probably both of them are going to win, and deservedly so, especially Jessica Gunning. That's like the creepiest role I've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm. She was great. Really, really great. And, she was actually in another show. Oh, God, I'm like blanking on the name of it. It was just a bunch of like people who were doing community service, and she was kind of like the monitor. And I didn't even realize it was the same actress until someone said, yeah, she's in that other show. I was like,
Really?
oh, my God. Yeah, so she has quite a range.
Yeah, she sure does. So touch on a couple of more categories. Outstanding lead actress in a drama series. And again, I'm just going to wing it because I haven't seen all these. There's an actress from Shogun, Imelda Staunton, who played the queen in The Crown. Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston from The Morning Show, Maya Erskine from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and then Carrie Coon for The Gilded Age. I mean, if you made me vote for one of those, based on the ones I would vote for Imelda Staunton, who was great in The Crown. But you saw some of these others.
I've never seen The Gilded Age.
Oh, you haven't?
No, but I saw
Am I right to say The Gilded Age is for older women?
Well, then I'm in there.
You should be watching it.
Well, it's the big joke in the house, because I'll say to Tom, I wouldn't wear that. It's such an old lady outfit. And he'll look at me and go, well, you're an old lady. Yeah, no, I just had no interest in it, although I like Carrie Coon a lot. I think she's a great actress. She's Tracy Letts' wife.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
I have a
Tracy
feeling...
Letts, by the way, got nominated for an Emmy.
know.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
For Winning Time, and he was great in Winning Time.
He was great in that. So, I don't know. You think Imelda Staunton, she's got a great chance, but I haven't seen Shogun, but just based on everything I've been told, I think that they're going to walk away with a lot of awards. So I think this Anna Sawai, if that's how you pronounce her name.
Yeah.
I think that she may win.
So sight unseen, you're going with Anna Sawai.
Yeah.
Are you going to make a commitment to watch Shogun? Are you going to try it?
I am going to. Every time we sit down to watch it, Tom says, I just can't. So I may have to go it alone, but I may be able to talk him into it. We're binging Game of Thrones right now, so he's like obsessed with it.
Is he obsessed with Game of Thrones? The original series?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. Where are you?
We're like midway through season 1.
Oh, God. Season 1's great. Ends perfectly. You'll love it. You'll love it. Let me see. Let me do a couple other of these. Jodie Foster, I think, is going to win for Outstanding Lead Actress in a anthology, limited series or movie. Brie Larson is in there. Juno Temple for Fargo. You saw that. I was happy to see Sofia Vergara get nominated for Griselda. I actually liked that show a lot. And then Naomi Watts for Feud, Capote versus the Swans, which I despised as a show. I did not like that Capote show.
I didn't like it either. It
so
made
annoying.
Me, yeah, it was very annoying. I think Juno Temple has a really good chance of winning.
Does she?
She's phenomenal in this.
So if I've got one show to go back to, Fargo or Shogun, which one should I go to?
Fargo.
You think?
I can't say Shogun because I haven't seen it. I just hear it's great. I saw Fargo and it was great.
Yeah. Outstanding lead actor in a comedy series. I'm kind of jumping around now. Larry David is in there. I don't think is going to win. Matt Berry for What We Do in the Shadows, as I mentioned, it's a genius show, and I was happy to see him nominated. Steve Martin, Martin Short, Only Murders in the Building, Jeremy Allen White, and for The Bear, and then DeFaro Woon Atai for Reservation Dogs, a show that I have not watched. Who do you like in that category? I guess it's Jeremy Allen White, right?
I hope that someone else wins this.
Do you?
Because this will be his third win in a row. Is that
second or third? I'm not sure which.
I think it'll be his third. He won the first 2, right? Oh no, I guess it'll. Yeah, no, this is for the second season.
This is
right?
for the second season. Yeah,
okay,
so this would be his second win.
This will be his second. Okay, well, if it's his second, he'll probably win. I would love to see Matt Berry win.
Oh, I think he'd be amazing. He would be so cool. It would be great to see him win. I actually would kind of like to see Martin Short win. Martin Short just makes me laugh. I don't know if you saw this or not. Do you watch Bill Maher?
Not all the time.
So Bill Maher did a thing when he had his book come out where he had Martin Short as, is it Jiminy Glick?
Mm-hmm.
The rotund entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Funniest damn interview. He interviewed Bill Maher, just killed it. As much as I've laughed in a while. So if you get a chance to go back and look at that, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love Martin Short. Lead actress in a comedy series, Quentin Brunson, 𝐈𝐢𝐭𝐡, first time I get her name right, for The Bear. Selena Gomez for Only Murders in the Building. I guess I tipped my hand on how I feel about her performance. Maya Rudolph for Loot, which I never quite got into. Jean Smart for Hacks, and Kristen Wiig for Palm Royale. There is a clear-cut winner for me there. Who do you like?
Smart. Jean
It's got to
Smart.
be Jean Smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was so good. And Hannah Einbinder's nominated. She also terrific. Paul W. Downs, who was on the show, got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So a lot of action for Fargo. If I was to say this to you, best TV viewing experience of this Emmy year, what do you say?
I would say
one
Hacks.
show of all
I
of
would
them.
say Hacks.
I would agree with you. I thought Hacks was amazing this year. Close second to, close second, I've got Ripley and True Detective. Those were both great.
I would say Ripley and Slow Horses.
Slow Horses, yeah. I'm behind. Here I am hosting a culture pop podcast, and I've only seen 2 of the dramas nominated for the Emmy.
Shame on you.
Yeah, shame on me. Strip me of my pop culture media card. So the Emmys are coming up. They'll be on September the 15th. They have not announced a host yet, but it'll be September the 15th, so a little bit later this year. Because we just had the Emmys in January or February, right? And because they were delayed because of COVID, so now they're coming back and doing it at the normal time. So there you have a little view of the Emmys and the nominations that came out. And one of the big winners when it comes to nominations has been Abbott Elementary, a former winner for Best Comedy Series at the Emmys. And our guest today is from that show. He's appeared on shows like Snowpiercer and Curb Your Enthusiasm and Swagger and Ray Donovan. But his breakout role is as Mr. Johnson on the ABC hit Abbott Elementary. William, thank you very much for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me this morning. Good to be here with you guys.
And by the way, congratulations. A bunch of Emmy nominations again for Abbott Elementary, and it's already won the Emmy for Best Comedy Series once. That's got to be really exciting, right?
Yeah, I mean, the show is just, it's been a phenomenon, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it.
So you have been in the business a long time, a working actor. Then along comes Quinta Brunson and Abbott Elementary.
Yes.
How did she find you for that role?
You know, I auditioned like everyone else, but there's something about my audition that caught her eye, and I'm glad that it did. She, and I thought it was just going to be, one day guest star on this show. It's just turned out to be a life-changing audition. It just changed everything. And I'm just so happy she came in my path, or I in her path, or however, the universe set this up.
Such a lovable character. I mean, first of all, I want to preface by saying it's the only network show that I watch.
Oh, wow.
I never watch network television anymore because nothing to me is up to my standards.
Right.
So I just want to say that. But I want to know, this character, he is just unfiltered. He's charming. I want to know how much of Mr. Johnson is just innately in you.
Wow, that's a great question. I think it's because of the way I grew up and the people that I grew up around that I've taken on some of their traits. So I can say some of it is a bit innately in me, but it's really great writing that I think, and as an actor, we try to really get the behavior of the character and how he deals with all the other characters around him. And so far, I always use the word lucky. I've been lucky at being able to create that. I'm around some
Yeah.
great actors who are really generous to give me a lot of things to work with. So once again, I'll use the word luck.
So you have said that Mr. Johnson is modeled partly after your grandmother on your dad's side.
Yeah.
What was she like, and how did you incorporate her as part of your character?
She was like the biggest conspiracy theorist that I knew. She didn't believe anything, She didn't believe in the moon landing. She still think Kennedy is alive somewhere, hiding somewhere. That's the type of woman she is. But and she spoke her mind. She's just like Mr. Johnson. She spoke her mind, whether she didn't care what you thought. And she always felt like she was the smartest person in the room. And that's who Mr. Johnson is. I think he feels like he's the smartest person in the room.
So when you're developing the character with Quinta and the rest of the writing staff,
right?
How much were you able to, do you talk about your actual backstory, things in your life, things that you would like to bring to the character? Was it that collaborative?
Whenever I tell them about things in my life and things I want to bring to the character, they start laughing. They're like, "Yeah, right. Get out of here." Well, it's great writing. And in actors, we try to bring as much, I think, as an actor, because that's what I am first. I think we have everything that a human being can be in us. We love, we hate, we cry, we have joy and pain and everything, and so I try to find those aspects in this man. And once again, I attribute it to the writing, and they'll tell me if I've gone too far. Or they'll tell me if you haven't gone far enough, we need more from you, So a lot of it is a collaborative effort too, with what they see, what the director and the producers, what they visualize. There was one episode in season 2 where the kids had a mural on the wall, and they wanted me to that type of reaction, and I wasn't giving them enough. They wanted it to be like, my favorite team just won the Super Bowl, and I just won like $500,000 on a bet. And so I said, "Oh, that's what you want." And then, we got it. So sometimes they'll want more. They'll say, "Pull back. Let's try something else."
So, how many jobs, assignments, career has Mr. Johnson had before landing at Abbott Elementary? I mean, everything from state senator, judge on American Idol, pretty much everything but an astronaut. Have you ever counted how many different jobs he had? And tell me about sort of the backstory of Mr. Johnson.
Don't count out astronaut.
Oh, okay.
Don't count that out. So far, we know he's had 400 jobs. He's been a pilot for either the CIA or a whole lot of contraband or something. He was in the Olympics, man. He's done everything. A tastefully nude model. We're talking about 400 plus jobs, and I'm sure that we're going to see more and more. He's playing in my mariachi band. I mean, this guy. This guy is, I love him. I really love this character, not just because of what it's done, the show has done for my life, but I'm having so much fun. He's so delicious. And I get to get in the sandbox and just throw sand on everybody,
Growing up, I had connections with certain teachers,
Right.
that really influenced my life, but never someone like a janitor. Did you in school have a Mr. Johnson in your life?
We had a Mr. Glover. Mr. Glover was one of the kindest men I knew, but he spoke his mind. Mr. Glover was the type of guy that would use his own truck to bring equipment to the school. and that type of thing. But he knew everybody's business. He knew if you skipped school. He knew what the parents, his parents were arguing last night. That's why he's, late. He knew all the gossip. And I just remembered that. But he was just always really nice. And I try to deal with, we have a lot of children on the set. And when they rap, the parents wanted them to take pictures with me. Let's go get a picture with Mr. Johnson. And so I tried to use Mr. Glover's kindness, but I've seen Mr. Glover in action with the teachers too, and he spoke his mind. He wasn't as nuts as Mr. Johnson. But he was very outspoken. So he's influential. I know he's probably not on the planet now, but I want to thank him.
You grew up in St. Louis and you went to an inner city school, and your Aunt Helen was your third grade teacher. How did that impact you as a kid? And was that school, was there sort of an Abbott Elementary vibe at the school you were growing up? Do you see a parallel?
Oh, very much so. First of all, my Aunt Helen was my third grade teacher. She literally grabbed me by the collar on the first day and told me he expected excellence, that it wasn't going to be any free rides and to be on time. I mean, she let me know, just because, and she's my favorite aunt, she was like, I loved her like I love my mother, and she let me know that I wasn't going to get away with murder. The school almost is exactly, I mean, things haven't changed very much in inner city schools. And, I had the saying that we got hand-me-down books and supplies, but we didn't have hand-me-down teachers. And that's what Abbott reminds me of, that these teachers genuinely want to make sure that these children get the best education that they can possibly give them, and that's the way it was at the elementary school I went to. I went to school in St. Louis called Code Brilliant. And then I transferred later to another school called Scullin School, which was a little different, but the teachers still really, really cared about making sure you made it. I'm just happy that they did.
Yeah.
So being around kids and the fact that you work in an elementary school,
Right.
How important is it to be up on their lingo and their shorthand? And, I know, like, I have friends who have kids,
Right.
and they'll say things sometimes. And like one of them the other day said something like it was OKB. And I was like, what is OKB? And it actually meant, it means off keyboard, like they're not texting.
Ah.
Wow.
So how important is it for you? Because I'm 67 years old, so I like to just kind of keep up on what the kids. How important is it for you?
With the kids on the set, I don't get a chance to really, unless I'm in a scene with them, I don't get a chance to really, get that close to hear that lingo. But they've written things, and I'm like, what's this? What does this mean? And they'll look at me like, you old. Can I cuss?
Yes.
You old ass man. You don't know what and it's really important because I used to think I was cold. I used to think I was hip, and some of the things, OKB means off keyboard. Wow. I thought it meant like, okay, B, like,
Yes.
But, I need a dictionary. I keep this thing with me all the time. Okay, what does that mean? They have one, show you how in the first season, Cheryl had a line of JoJo Seabass, and it was about JoJo Siwa, and I still don't know how to pronounce her name because I didn't know who that was, and I'm
Right.
like, watch a lot of network television, I don't watch, so I'm like, who is this? And it looked at me like I was from another planet. You don't know who this is, I came on and I asked my wife, she looked at me like I was from you don't know. All I watch is sports when I come home, or occasionally if I don't let Netflix make me crazy trying to find something to watch,
So in Time Magazine, you wrote, I guess we'd call it an essay, right? You wrote a really wonderful essay in Time, and you said, quote, you had to take a lot of square jobs working in a brickyard, short order cook, truck stop, telemarketer, limo driver, country and western DJ. You said it was a nightmare because you were not pursuing your dream. Before you, well, when you were in that stretch, what was the worst of the what you call square jobs?
Probably working in a brickyard. It was tough. It was back breaking. That was the toughest. I think it couldn't get any worse. But try being a short order cook in a Texas truck stop. Those were like, and the attitudes, but they were still big. Not working in a brickyard, but being a short order cook in a truck stop is still performative. You gotta, you can't look like you want to choke someone,
Right.
Pulls up, that type of thing, but they were all like, okay, this is temporary. Just keep, doing what you need to do. And these are what I call survival jobs or square jobs. And just stay the course. You get a lot of detours. You get a lot of, the best one of them was driving limo because I could audition. I would keep my audition clothes in the trunk of the car. And I would go to auditions in between, picking up Sidney Poitier and or Chris Rock or someone, who were working, were icons even then. So I just
wait a minute. I gotta stop you. Did you actually drive Sidney Poitier?
Yes, I did. And I actually drove Chris Rock. He wouldn't remember, but when I drove Sidney Poitier, all we had then was flip phones, so I couldn't take his picture or anything. And I was trying to secretly call my mother with the phone here because he was back on a magazine, and I couldn't take my iPhone because it's Sidney Poitier, and I'm trying to call her, and he's like, "Driver, would you please drive and stay off the phone?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, Mr. Poitier."
Yeah.
But I immediately called her when I was dropped him off, and he was just such a gentleman. But to drive Sidney Poitier, it was just like, oh my God,
Yeah, so I mean, you grew up in a segregated world. I would imagine that Sidney Poitier, he was a huge breakthrough as a person, as an actor, as an activist. I mean, that must have been he must have been important to you beyond just being a guy in your limo.
Oh my God, yes. I tell the story about how my grandmother, we talked about my paternal grandmother, my maternal grandmother would come and get me out of school. She would tell the teachers that I had doctor's appointments, and she would take me to the movies. And one of the movies she took me to see was The Defiant Ones. She took me to see The Defiant Ones with her, and I just couldn't believe I'd never seen an African-American on the screen before in a movie. I'd go see. They take me to see Rodan. I don't know if you guys,
I do know Rodan was the fine, yeah.
These young people don't know about Rodan. She was, would take me to movies. She would take me to everything. She would take me to see The King and I, and My Fair Lady and all. But, seeing Sidney Poitier was just like, oh my God, I'd never seen anything like that. And then I saw him years later, The Raisin, and it just always affected me. And he was so dignified, and I'd never seen anything like that on the screen before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was reading, and tell me if this is true, because you read things on Wikipedia and you take some stuff with a grain of salt. Right. So it said that your first role was as a custodian on the Bold and Beautiful soap opera, right?
Right.
So how ironic that was your first role, and now here you are in your breakout role as a janitor.
Yeah, I played two different janitors on the Bold and the Beautiful. They brought me in as a janitor for one company, and about 8 months later, they brought me in as a janitor for another company. And it's amazing, people say it's gone full circle. It's gone way beyond full circle. It's a totally different thing. And I like that story too. There are a lot of unjanitorial jobs in between, they were different, but this was, I look back on it. Yeah, it's an amazing story, and it has become full circle.
So before your acting career, you were in a band called, again, this is Wikipedia, the Fabulous Paramount Revue, and you guys opened for the OJs, which was one of my dad's favorite bands. Okay. Tell us about the band. Did you sing? Did you play an instrument? What was the music like? All that stuff.
It was old school, what we call old school. I was R&B at the time. I was kind of a front guy. I wanted to be a singer, and I could only sing about this much. And so we had a group we had a group like the Temptations, and we had a group like the Supremes, and I was kind of like the James Brown guy. So we put on a show, and I was the front man for this band, and I danced and entertained, and this character was supposed to be the star of the show because the girls would come out, the guys would come out, then I would come out. And we entertained. We opened for several local big artists. I don't know if you know of a guy named Albert King. Albert King was from East St. Louis. And we opened for a lot of groups in the Midwest that would come to St. Louis. And we were pretty popular. We weren't just a garage band. We were entertainment. We were like big time entertainment.
Years ago, I used to do stand up, and I was on a show with the Platters. And I think there were a couple of original guys in the band, and I had to share a airport shuttle with them. And it was one of the guys in the band, I guess, had gotten loaded the night before, and they were talking about him, and they were telling me a story about how his wife picked him up at the airport, but he didn't realize that it was his wife because he was so loaded when he got home. And she pulled up in front of the house, and he gets out of the car and he looks at her and he says, "Thanks for the ride, baby." And he just shut the door and went to go in the house and didn't realize that it was his wife.
Oh my God.
So what kind of fun did you have during those years?
We had, I am still in touch with a lot of the guys. Some of them have gone to do other things, but most of them are still great musicians, session musicians. Some of them are, one guy is over in Europe playing. He's a big star over there. Another guy has opened for everyone. And I mean, not open, has played with everyone. Aretha Franklin, you name it, he's played with my guitarist. And so we stay in touch, especially now that the show has been such a hit. They are really big cheerleaders. And we cheer each other because they're very successful too.
Recently was National Teachers Day, and I decided I was going to go back and reach out to the teacher that had the most influence on my life. And so it is a woman named Johnny Myers, and she was my speech teacher, my drama teacher, all the performing I've done over the years.
Right.
Many thanks to Johnny Myers. I'm wondering, beyond Anne Helen, did you have somebody, particularly in acting, that you felt was just like a really great teacher for you?
I had a couple, but because there was no, at least in the inner city schools, the only performing art that they had would be like choir, glee club, those type of things. There was nothing ever geared toward theater. When I went to a mixed high school, they had theater group, theater guild, but I was too chicken shit to join because I thought they were so good. I was not the best high school student. So I got kicked out. I ended up going to this, what they call a last opportunity high school. And I hope I'm not taking too long with the story.
No, not at all.
And this guy named Mr. Mase, he put me in this program called Upward Bound. He thought that I was worth saving because I had a few problems in high school, and I saw the Negro Ensemble come, and that is what I want to do. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on stage, and it stuck with me, and I still tried to find places where to go and work on the craft of acting, but in St. Louis, and where I grew up, there was that didn't exist. So I just, I got into theater in college just a little bit, but once again, I thought they were all so great, and I was just kind of like, I wouldn't use the word shy, but just like intimidated by what they were doing, but it was still eating at me. You can do this. You can do this, and I finally just eventually came to Los Angeles and got in every class I could get into and got into every workshop and just really got serious about it.
You've won all these awards now: Screen Actors Guild Award, NAACP Image Award winner. After 40 years in the business, you arrive, and I saw a post that you made on Instagram where you said, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. Love what you do and do your best to get there. Does that sort of summarize your life and your journey?
Definitely. If you don't love it, do something else. Why do it? You're going to get a lot more no's than yeses in this business. You're going to get a lot of doors slammed in your face. And that's the way I generally try to live. Anyway, I try, someone asked me if I could teach a class, what would I teach? And I said, I teach people how to be happy and how to be kind. And I'm still learning how to do that myself. But this business, it's a low self-esteem business. And you have to really enjoy it and not worry about the results, not worry about getting the job. I do this because this is the only thing I know how to do. This is the only thing I want to do. And I try to be joyful in doing it. I try to have fun. I was telling someone the other day, I just like to have fun. I like for people around me to have fun. This is not brain surgery. This is a performative art, which is, it's important in itself, but still, why do it if you're not going to enjoy it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. My first question to you was, how much is your character innately in you? And for me, it really came out in the season 3 finale when you had this poignant scene with Janine, and she's struggling with decision. And, she says, she actually says to you, how do you live your life doing what you want? Aren't you afraid things will go wrong? And you're like, things are going to go wrong whether you're doing what you want or not.
Right.
And it made me think how much of that really was you speaking.
It really was. That's the way I try to live my life. Things are going to go wrong. Things are never going to be what you expect them to be, no matter what it is. You might have this high expectation of something, and you're going to be disappointed. Things are going to go wrong, and you might as well. Once again, as I said about the happiness as being the key to success, enjoy it, and not make it. Not put yourself in a straitjacket. Does that make sense? Not put yourself in it where, oh my God, happen next. Oh my God, things can go wrong. And the great thing about that scene is, I felt like Quinta was my daughter in that scene. And I rarely get scenes like that with her in the show, but she's been like that to me. I tell all the time, you changed my life, and I look at her like she is my daughter, or she could be my granddaughter, actually, But yeah, everyone says that scene was very moving for them.
Yeah, it's very, very moving. Listen, I so appreciate you coming on. Everybody I talk to about Abbott Elementary, you are like one of the really bright spots of the show. Love when you pop into the school and make just a huge difference. Congratulations on all these Emmy nominations. We'll be watching you and everybody else on the red carpet. Abbott Elementary, of course, ABC, and then Hulu the next day. Thank you so much, William, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Saz. Thank you guys for having me. Okay.
There you have it. What a nice man, William Stanford Davis, and what an amazing story. Persistence, Sue. It is, I think he said, it's a business of low self-esteem, but persistence, that's what he showed. And I love that one line. You mentioned the final scene. He said, I've always had a harder time living with regrets than consequences. I definitely get that from him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you think about it, he didn't start his acting career until he was I think he was 33 years old. And then I always think of someone like Rodney Dangerfield, who became a comedian at 45.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
He was an aluminum.
45?
He was an aluminum cider. That was his career.
Wow. Well, he said, I mean, limo driver, drove Sidney Poitier had to be a thrill. Had to be a thrill. So Abbott Elementary, strongly recommend the show. It's really funny. As Sue said, it's like the one network TV show that I spend time watching, and it's completely worth it. So thank you to William. I want to remind everybody, if you're watching the show on our YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, and then you can write anything you want underneath it. Anything about Abbott Elementary or William or the Emmy Awards, all that stuff is fair game down there. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, subscribe to the show and then leave us a 5-star rating and a review. We appreciate that an awful lot. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching it. And we will see everybody next time on the Culture Pop Podcast.